I have an exciting time in store for you today. I'm going to be chatting to a young lady who wants to tell her story and tell us also God's role in that story. She's a dynamic young lady and she's going places. I believe she has a lot to offer the world. So sit back and relax, grab a bite, something to drink, and enjoy this episode of Come Testify, the brand under which I do all my interviews on my channel, Weekend Reflections with Sungi. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me again today. So we're going to get right into it. I'm going to introduce my guest, Kuzi, and then I'm going to ask her to give us a more detailed introduction of herself and anything that she would like us to know about her. Welcome, Kuzi.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. It sounds very nice. I mean, it feels good.
Oh, we're glad to have you. I mean, I've been waiting for this interview. I think it's 2 years or something.
Yeah, so have I.
So it's so exciting to have you here today. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. My full name is Kuziva Milcah Wazara. I'm 26, well, turning 26, and I am the oldest of 4 and the only girl, which is great.
I can imagine.
Yeah. My favorite color is purple because I see two sides to colors very much. So I love purple because I see pain and I see peace at the same time. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Spoken like a true creative.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go into your story. You can just begin and let us know what, what your story is about, and also highlighting what God has done for you.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a story that I've been wanting to share for a very long time, but because of nervousness and the type of title that it is, I was very unsure. Mm-hmm. But now I am very certain that it would help a lot of people to understand mental illness from experience point of view instead of just the doctor's point of view. So yeah, epilepsy is a very strong thing. It might be a small word, but it's very, very strong. Mm-hmm. And it's a very sensitive topic for many people. What can I say?
So were you born with epilepsy, or were you diagnosed at some stage in your life? How did you know you had epilepsy?
So I was diagnosed in 2016. Yeah.
Okay, about 8 years ago.
Yeah. I was still a teenager, just ending my teenage days. It had been there since I was born, but then it hadn't come out yet.
Okay, it hadn't fully manifested.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But do you remember any episodes when you were young, or you were saying it hadn't manifested? So
no.
It started manifesting in 2016.
Yeah. That's when the seizures started coming out, and
So how did you handle that? Like, what happened the first time? Do you remember that, or is it quite vivid?
The first time, from what I remember, I think we were in church actually, and back then I was still going to River of Life. So the structure, I was sitting up at the top of the stairs, and it was during praise and worship, and then suddenly I was being carried out of the church. People screaming. Apparently, I fell.
You don't have a recollection of that?
Okay. No.
Okay. So I suppose afterwards that followed going to doctors and so on and tests like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Were you given medication?
Or? Yes, I was, because they wanted to confirm that it was something to do with epilepsy.
Okay.
Then, yeah.
Okay. Now maybe tell us a little bit about how you've been living with this. How have you learned to live with it? How has it been? Because I think it's things that people don't usually talk about, but I'm sure it will help someone out there. How have you coped with this, physically and even maybe mentally and emotionally? What, you can just tell us over the years.
Yeah. So since epilepsy is something to do with the brain, it is very much a mental breakdown kind of thing. So when someone has a seizure, it's like this shutdown. It's like a computer being reset, or like a child being reborn.
Okay.
Right. And so it leads to a lot of emotional breakdown during, from when you have the seizure, you don't know that it's going to happen. A lot of the times you don't know. And then after it happens, it brings that fear of, oh my gosh, it has happened. And now I feel very, very sick, heavy-headed, so emotional. I'm here, Having a seizure is like fighting with yourself for yourself.
Okay.
Basically. You don't want it to happen, so you're trying to stop it, but at the same time, you can't stop it. And they say that if you do try and stop it, it is very risky to survive it.
Okay.
Yes. So when it started for me, it led to a lot of, let's just say it led to a phase of depression, because I was then afraid. I kept asking the Lord, like, why would you do this to me? Like,
why me?
Yeah, why would I have it? And at the same time, why am I still alive? Because now I had a lot of people coming to me and feeling sorry for me, and then it brushed onto me as well, where then I would start feeling sorry for myself, and I would limit all my actions because everyone else was limiting my actions.
Okay.
And so like, oh no, because you do this, you can't be near this, you can't do this because you're like that. And it was...
So it was for your own safety, I guess.
Yeah, it was for my own safety, but I guess that's where you kind of have to then grow up on your own. But it also does take time, and it takes a lot of courage to end that kind of phase, especially if you're by yourself, And then you've also got the pressure from people who will be like, but it should have ended by now. And you're like, I don't even know what happens when I have a seizure.
You only remember afterwards.
Yeah, but you never know what happens during it.
Okay.
So you can't stop it.
So was the medication just meant to make it just a bit more moderate?
So
not to stop it totally?
Yeah, so the medication is just supposed to help control it.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
To control the seizures. And some say that theirs ends, the epilepsy ends, which is great.
Okay.
But I guess for some people it takes a bit of time.
So you still have it?
Yes, I do. I do. So I would believe that the Lord has very much helped me.
Okay.
Especially in accepting it.
Okay.
Yes. Because of the depression phase, I didn't want to accept life anymore.
Okay.
That is the truth. And as the years went by, I started asking, and let's just say in 2020, during the COVID season, it was like the Lord was trying to free me from feeling the anger of actually living with it and wanting me to actually help people with it.
That's nice. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's almost like someone who is suffering from cancer. They don't know how long they have, or some do, but most people with epilepsy, it is a very risky kind of illness. It's not a disability. No, it's not a disability, because it has something to do with your brain. It doesn't have anything to do with your body. It can't stop you from doing a lot of things.
Probably
just
everything.
Because, yeah.
But you just have to be careful, I guess, when you're near fire, when there's a lot of flashing lights, that kind of thing?
Yes, you do have to be careful about that. I remember when I was when it was around my first time singing on stage, I did have plenty of seizures through the years while I was going to church, while I was on stage, because I wasn't so used to it yet.
To the lights?
To the lights and the sound as well.
So how did you cope with that? Did it happen while you're on stage?
Yeah, plenty of times.
Okay.
Probably more than 1,000, but...
Oh, wow. But you kept on going.
I kept on going. And that's another thing, is the support that will be around you.
I wanted to ask about that. Tell us about that.
So, people support in different ways. that is one thing that people should know about illnesses like this, is that people support in different ways. I've seen two sides of support.
Okay.
From my mom, at first I didn't understand. I would be like, no, why won't you help me? But then I realized that she's there anyway, but then she wants me to stand up on my own.
Okay.
So she can watch me having the seizure. Of course, maybe she'll move me.
Okay.
But then she'll watch it end. And then when it's done, she'll be like, go in bath or go and do this. And, at least I'm doing it on my own, because she wants me to be able to walk on my own as well.
Okay.
To get over it on my own. And then I've got my supporters from church, of course.
Okay.
They did not stop me from singing on stage.
I like that.
Which was
I like
that encouragement that I was talking about the limitations and stuff like that. They were just like, you know what? Every Sunday, you're free to come. And it wasn't even one of those where, no, because of the lights, you can't sing. No, it was one of those where they were like, why aren't you on stage?
I like that. That's very encouraging to hear.
Yeah.
But what did you do to manage the situation of the lights? Like, did you have to know, like, at what level they would trigger you, or something? Like, or you just hoped it wouldn't happen?
I would hope it didn't happen for a long time.
Or pray even.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah. And then I just realized that, you know what? If I'm going to have a seizure, at least I've got God to protect me through the people around me.
Yeah. It's so important to have that support. Not everybody has that.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you have that in your mom and also your church family. That's really, God bless them.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Because not everyone has that.
And because of when people just see and people try and limit, I remember when I was in culinary school, and it was a great school. I mean, it is a great school.
Yeah.
Had great teachers. But one thing that did annoy me was that a lot of the times they would be like, no, don't stand near the stove, or don't do this. And at the same time, I'll be like, but then how do you want me to pass?
So you felt very, very like controlled.
Yeah, I was like, no, you can't stop me. And then I guess that's where the stubbornness started flying in, where I would be like, no, you don't need to call my mom, because you can only call her if maybe the intense seizure has happened, or if I've had more than two, because I didn't want it to stop me. Even at work now, if I have a seizure, I'm just like, no, I mean, it doesn't mean that I have to stop going to work.
It doesn't mean you can't do anything.
Exactly. And, I can cook, I can sing, I can take care of children at church. People do trust me with their children. I've been able to socialize with people, and that's just the great thing about it. I can walk in town on my own. I mean, yeah.
You mentioned culinary school, so did you finish that? Did you manage to finish, or what?
I did. I got my diploma. Well, I did level 2 diploma.
Wow, well done. Congratulations. So, that is a big accomplishment.
Yeah,
well
it was.
It
was.
You see, it
it
didn't
was
stop
a
you.
big one. Yeah, exactly. And it helped me get more awards, I guess.
Wow.
Got one for good personality and most improved. So.
Wow, well done.
Yeah.
Wow, nothing. I think it was more like the stubbornness was a stubbornness of faith that I can do that.
Yeah.
It wasn't just blind, that you were not aware of the dangers. I think you had that awareness, but you knew that, I can still navigate it and get to my goal.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what would you say really was God's role? And even now you said you still have epilepsy. How do you see God's hand on your life? And did you ever have a dangerous situation, maybe, that you can speak of as well? While you had epilepsy, where, you talked about the potential dangers. Did you ever have a situation like that where it was really dangerous, that something happened?
I did, actually.
Okay, tell us a bit about it.
So in 2017, I remember 2017, October 2017, October 28th, actually. I was walking home from school. What happened was that I'd had seizures while I was at home.
Okay.
But then I didn't want to not go to school. I wanted to go to school, not to miss a day. And on my way back, I was coming back by myself, and I was crossing a road, and I was in the middle of the road, and then I felt that a seizure wanted to happen.
Oh.
So while it was still very mild, I wanted to make it to the other side
of
the road while I still had the time. But unfortunately, I think I made it halfway across the other half of the road, and then I was hit by a car. Yeah.
Hit by a car?
Yeah.
Had you previously been walking by yourself and nothing had happened?
Yeah, I had. I
Oh.
had.
So what happened when you were hit by the car?
So I actually consider it a funny story because
Oh my gosh, and I'm thinking it's near tragic story because you're here. Evidently you didn't die.
yeah, uh-huh.
So what was funny about it?
What was so funny was that when they did turn me over, I landed on my face. So
Oh,
when
on your
they,
face?
yeah, lost a few teeth. So when they did turn me over, the first thing I said was, "Where's my phone?"
Oh,
And
are you
you know,
serious?
if
When you just
someone
been
was
hit by
to
a
say
car?
that, yeah, exactly,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
Why it was so funny is that I'm pretty sure they were like, "Why?
Why is she?
Why?"
What's up with her phone? What's in her
But
phone?
all I wanted to do was to get them to call Gogo or my mom or my
Okay.
dad.
Like your
To
next
come
of
and
kin,
get
kind of.
exactly, because I was going to Gogo's house, so I wanted them to call her,
Yeah.
and yeah,
And they managed to, or was it crushed?
yeah, they did manage to get Gogo. Yeah.
But what about you? What happened to you? Did you go to the hospital? What happened?
What
After
happened
that?
was that the lady was a woman, and I felt really bad for her because she had kids in the car as well.
Oh, she stopped the car. Oh, the one who hit you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she then picked me up, and then she took me to my grandma's house, and then while I was with Gogo, we drove to the hospital.
So you
she
were
was
not. You were hit.
crying.
Was it? She must have been going slowly for it not to be fatal.
Probably, I don't know.
'Cause I'm
To
wondering
me,
why-
when the seizure started happening to me, the car looked like it was far. So I don't know exactly how it.
Yeah, because I would have thought she would take you to the hospital, but you're not injured enough for that. Or she
I
didn't know
think,
what to do. Maybe.
yeah. Well, I think it
Yeah.
was just it became like a panic moment for everybody.
Yeah.
And
But thank God you were alive. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and the best thing is that was the time when I feel like I actually met God.
Oh,
For the
tell
f-
us about that. Wow. Wow.
Well, like when you're growing up and you're part of a family and, they go to church, you yourself, you think you're a believer, but at the same time, you're not. You don't have that connection to God that you think you have,
Okay.
or that your entire family thinks you have. And when this happened, it was like God was giving me a restart.
Like a second chance.
Exactly.
He was probably
It was
saying,
like
I'm not done with you.
Yeah.
Kuziva. That's why you didn't die.
Yeah, exactly. And just thinking about how many other times I could have died. I could have died at birth.
At birth.
Yeah, because I was a premature baby, and they had said apparently I was about to die the day that they took me to
Really?
the hospital. Yeah.
That's a miracle
Yeah.
in itself. You're a miracle, baby.
Yeah.
I would say so.
And I was really small
Yeah.
when I was born. They were like 1 kg.
1 kg.
Yeah, every
Wow.
time they're like, "Oh, you can fit in the palm of my hand."
That's tiny. You must have been in the hospital for ages.
Yeah, for a month, I think. Yeah.
So you said you just carry on. You said you met God because of this incident and this accident.
Yeah, and my favorite word ever since has been grace.
Grace.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I even have my friend Grace from church, and I'm always telling her, "Do you know how precious your name is to me?"
Unmerited favor of God.
Yeah.
Where you didn't deserve it. It's just because of more about his character.
Exactly. But he's given me a chance. Of course, maybe it was hard to accept the first time because of just getting used to this whole seizure thing and trying to survive with it, trying to get used to the fact that I could have a seizure anytime. Besides the accident, I've had many incidents where it was a very risky thing, where I would be home alone and then I would have a really bad one, and then I would wake up and I'm on the tiles.
And this
And
is
I would-
because there's no one who could be with you. You had no choice but to be by yourself.
Yeah, and I would
Okay.
wake up on the tiles, a swollen head, not realizing that I've actually hit my head
And you've been out for a while.
until after maybe I gain a bit of consciousness. Yeah.
So I guess where you could, you took precautions, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then there's sometimes where you just, there was no option but to be by yourself, or you had to walk to somewhere and so forth.
Yeah.
Like after the
something
accident, would you
like
say anything changed? Like how you do things, or also, like, or not really, you didn't have an option in many cases?
that. After the accident, I became more afraid to cross the road.
Oh, okay, so you made another plan, I guess.
Oh yeah, I always find a reasonable route. Like
Okay.
let's say if I'm in town, I don't care how long it is, I will just take that route and walk.
I think that's a good adjustment, because if you still have to walk and then at least avoid where there's a lot of cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I walk in between people.
Yeah, yeah, because that will help you if you fall or anything.
Yeah.
And at least people know where you are. I hope you do that as well. They know where you are all the time, so that if you're late or something, they call you up.
Yeah, so what I found is that my mom doesn't mind that I go out. I
Okay.
just need to update her
On where you are.
on where I
Okay.
am. If I told her that I'll be home by 7 and then I see 7, I might not be home by then, I send her a message.
I like that. I think
Yes.
she's trying to empower you and to help you to have a normal life,
Exactly.
as opposed to saying you can't go anywhere without anyone.
Mhm.
And that also isn't practical. And if people have to go out and work and so on, you can't. There are times where you have to be by yourself at home.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure that you're protected, the environment is protected.
One
Or if
of-
and things like that.
Yeah, and one of the great times that I see she's helped me with was last year in August when, for my birthday present, they let me go to Cape Town.
Oh wow! Wow! I think I saw
Yeah.
those pictures somewhere. You went by yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
I went by myself and I stayed by myself, which was a good thing because it's like giving me the experience of, okay, if you were to stay home by yourself,
Mhm.
you know, you've got the experience now.
And how long
for
was
a
that
few
for?
days. It was just for 4 days, but you know,
That's nice.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
You were not meeting up with anyone there or anything.
I didn't know anyone.
You didn't know anyone. It's okay. It was nice. It's nice to go on a holiday by yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Now tell me, just to help people out there as well, is there anything that people wear who have epilepsy, you know? Like if you're allergic to penicillin, for example, you wear a bracelet. Is there anything for people with epilepsy? What are some of the, are there any issues surrounding that or any practical things that people can do to help? There's no bracelet?
Well, yeah, you could get a bracelet.
A bracelet?
Yes,
Okay.
from the doctors and stuff like that.
Okay.
Usually at work they ask me what happens or what should we do when you have a seizure.
Okay.
Because now that they know, I have to, you know, give them advice because they've never had a person with
so
that
that they
kind
can
of
also
situation.
help you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just be like, clear the space. First of all, do not panic. Because if you do, while I'm starting to have a seizure, I will panic.
It will make it worse, I would think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll say, don't panic. Be as calm as possible. Clear the space. Never put anything in the mouth.
Okay.
Never. Because from my experience, the body gets so tense. That's why if someone was to put their finger in your mouth, you would literally bite through it.
I could think. I
Right.
would think so.
Yeah, you would actually.
Yeah.
Because of the tension that your body has gone through. You could either break the wooden spoon or you could break your own teeth because of the spoon.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
And
that's
you
good
could choke.
advice. It's good for people to know because I think people don't always talk about these things. But any of us find ourselves in a situation where we need to help someone also.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so it's good to talk about these things.
Yeah, and then turn them onto their left side for airway to get through.
Okay, and so they don't choke or anything like that.
Exactly. And then you have to just let them do what they're doing, you know, shake and all that stuff.
Until
as
it's
long
over.
as, yeah, because you can't stop it. If you try to stop it, it's just going to make it worse again.
Okay.
Yeah. You try to stop it, so don't stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, like I said, it's like a reset of the computer
Okay.
or child being born. So when the person's gaining their consciousness back, they're still very much a child.
Okay.
They don't know. For some time, they don't know that that's what has happened. And they don't know how to talk.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's the time when they will start to talk but not make sense.
You just have to be patient, I think.
Yes,
walk
that
with
is
them.
another good point to that. It teaches you to be patient.
Patient,
Yes. And then there's the phase where they can talk but not loud enough.
Okay. Not loud enough for maybe people to hear.
Hmm. And then there's the time where they will need to sleep
Okay.
because it's a tiring thing. Because of the tension of the body, now you've become so tired from holding yourself so stiff, you know, you're shaking and all that stuff, you're trembling. And yeah, after they've woken up, they might wake up with a headache.
Okay.
Yeah, so usually I drink warm water if it happens like that. I might not be able to eat for a
Okay.
bit,
Right.
but it also makes the stomach feel very, very empty.
Oh, at the same time, but you may not be able to eat
Exactly. And cold afterwards. You will feel cold.
your body.
Mhm.
So you might need something.
Yeah, to cover
to
yourself
cover
with for
yourself.
some bit. And then sleep for a while, 10 minutes, 1 hour,
And then you'll
possible.
be
And then when you
normalize.
come back, you'll be a bit better.
better.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think it's so important for people to know this. I don't know how many people are affected by epilepsy, but I would think quite a significant number of people.
Yeah, sadly, with a lot of people, they go straight to, oh, wakaroiwa.
When people don't understand something, they start labeling it.
Exactly.
And yet there's probably a scientific or chemical
Exactly.
explanation, and you need to be educated about it.
Sometimes I have to tell people that, you know what, patience is what is very important. I can't say that I'm going to be healed overnight. I mean, yes, it can happen.
And you can trust God for that, but take your tablets.
Exactly. And also, it's in God's timing.
Yes. I like that because, you know, as people of faith, it's good to trust God for your healing. But you must listen to the doctor's instructions, even for anybody listening here. You don't just stop taking your medication for any condition, and including epilepsy. You need to take it and trust God. For your healing, but don't stop taking your medication. That's important. And then learn more about the disease. That can empower you and empower other people. I think I like your perspective because it's okay. You know, you can read about epilepsy, you can hear the doctor's point of view, but I think it's different to hear it from a patient or somebody who's going through it or has gone through it. I think it's good to have that perspective because it's real. You know, somebody's actually, they're not imagining it or theorizing, they're telling you what it is.
And it's a very emotional thing, like I said before, because of the sensitive feeling that it leaves you.
Like vulnerable?
You be so emotional where you just start thinking to God and you're like, Lord, but why? And then there's times where you just become so afraid to actually even sleep because you would be so emotional that you'd be like, but I could just die overnight. I do have those moments sometimes, no lies. I do. They do come here and there. You know, like even after I've had the seizure, I just break down and cry because I'm like, I'm alive, yay. But at the same time, what happens if I don't come back? That's the thing with epilepsy, is that you never know. It is a huge, it is a, what's the word? It's just the best thing to come back alive. That is the truth.
We're saying you're happy that you're alive.
Yeah. So with epilepsy and the seizure is that there's three ways. There's three things. Either you're not going to come back, or you might come back not yourself,
or
you fully come
seizure.
back. Not just generally after the seizure, but because of everything. You could come back. You could come back a little mentally damaged, or you could come back fully.
Just back to your normal self.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe you could have a heart broken here and there, but you know.
I think with that, because you talked about your relationship with the Lord and how an extreme case where you could have been knocked over by a car, but He's saying, I'm not done with you yet. I think you could just have to hold God's hand and trust in Him. Doing the medication, the clearing space, educating people, and just trust that God will walk you through this.
I hope to encourage a lot of other people to understand what actually happens to a person who goes through epilepsy. You know, I've had the doctors ask me, so tell me, how does it feel? And at the same time, you don't know how to respond to them because you don't know how to describe it. But now that I'm able to describe it for the people, which is great.
I think a lot of people who are watching even now will identify with what you're saying. I think it's very courageous of you to actually do that and explain to people and reach out to people, because a lot of people are afraid of talking about it. And they want, we don't want to treat people as though they're abnormal because they have epilepsy, because they're not. They're normal people like any of us. They have a challenge that they're going through, but it doesn't stop them from doing things. I like what you said about culinary school, but I also happen to know that you sing, not just in church, but that you're a recording artist. So if you don't mind, I would like you to also talk a little bit about that, because I like the fact that it shows that despite you having a challenge or a health issue in your life, you are still doing something. God still has a purpose for you in your life. I think one of them is actually talking about this, about the epilepsy, but then you talked about culinary school, and now there's the music side. Please tell us a bit about that up to this point in time, just very briefly.
Okay, so the great thing about my music side is that I didn't know that I was musical until I was 9. So I wrote my very first song when I was 9. where we were home and we were watching too much TV as the kids.
Yeah.
And then, mom was like, no, go to your rooms, write a poem. And then she was like, go and write a poem about love. And so I did. And then she was like, wow, this is nice. You should turn it into a song. And so I did. So I still have that poem in my bag.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, I do. And as for the music, my songs, I always wondered why when I'm sad, I write songs that are more encouraging than they are sad.
Okay.
Until I sat down one day and I was like, but Lord, why is it every time I'm coming to you and I'm so upset and it's like I'm talking to myself, trying to get all the anger out, and then suddenly it changes to encouraging words, like me speaking to somebody about encouragement, until I realized that, it's the Lord actually responding to me.
Yes, that's so true.
You know? And just like all the songs that I've written, I think I've written more than 40, that is the truth.
Wow.
Some I might not remember them, but they are in a book.
Okay. So one day we will get to hear them.
Yes, hopefully most of them. Yeah. And so music has very much encouraged me, especially worship at church. I do sing gospel, and gospel is not a genre, that is the truth.
It's not a?
It's not a genre. I don't believe it's a genre.
It's not a genre?
No.
Okay.
Otherwise, then why would there be gospel hip hop?
That's such an interesting point of view.
It makes sense.
Okay.
Why would there be gospel hip hop?
Hip hop, yeah.
If gospel was
a genre on its own.
Exactly. So, worship has very much encouraged me, especially when I'm singing the words. The bridge parts of the words, especially. I don't know how the bridge always gets me.
We're just ordinary people. What are the bridge parts? What's that?
So you get a song, right? And there's the first verse, and then there's the chorus.
Okay.
And then there's the second verse, or not, and then there's the chorus.
Okay.
And then there's that part with the different words that just breaks the song down. And then it, builds up. Builds up the encouragement to sing more, and then you go back to the chorus, which will be on fire again.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's like that song, The Blessing. And they go, may his favor be upon you for 1,000.
Yes, I know
where
that
it
song.
goes deeper. It's like, for your family.
Yeah.
Yes, those are my favorite moments, because I can feel the chills.
Okay.
It's like the Lord's like, don't let go, let it all out.
Yes.
Don't stop, just let it all out.
So how many songs have you recorded?
So far 5.
5?
Yes, 5 of my own, and then I have one where I featured with a friend.
Okay.
Where he asked me to do it with
And
him.
I know that you released one recently on 18 April, Independence Day. What is the name of that song?
So that one is called Ndimi Muneni.
What inspired that song?
Actually, it was when I recorded that song, or when I wrote that song, actually, I was at work.
Oh, okay.
It was a Saturday. I think I was just not feeling very good at the moment.
Okay.
Oh, at that time. And then the words just came.
They just came.
They
You
just came.
wrote them down?
With the harmony.
Wow.
And then I recorded and I sent it to one of my friends. I was like, what do you think about this?
How do you record a harmony? I've always wondered that. If you've got words and then you sort of know the tune you want, how do you put that down? Or do you just hum it and record it? Or what? Just so that you can give it to a musician? How do you do that?
So people write differently.
Okay.
Some people will first start with making a melody.
Okay.
Before they actually put words to the
that.
song.
And that's like the musician.
Yeah. Everybody.
Everyone is a musician. The one who writes the music.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's the composers.
The
obviously,
composer, of the melody.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with me, it's more like I write and sing it at the same time.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's a lot of talent.
Thank you. And poetry also helps.
Okay.
Yes.
You write poems as well?
I do. Oh, sorry, we were talking about Ndimi Muneni.
Yes, your latest song. I wanted to find out what inspired, and you said you were at work.
Yes, I was at work. I was just feeling a little bit down. And then the words just came to me, and it was just encouraging. When I'm feeling down, you're still going to be walking with me.
Okay.
Ndimi Muneni, the one who has me. And I felt like I needed to let it out. So I didn't care how much money I had or how much money I was going to be left with.
Okay.
The next Sunday, straight after church, I was like, I'm going to the studio.
Oh wow.
I'm going to record this.
Do you have a contract with someone, like a producer, or it's just ad hoc as and when you get a song?
Well, this time it was a guy I knew, so I was like,
Okay.
maybe, you know, I could just work with him. I didn't have like a direct producer.
Okay, but
just as
that
yet.
doesn't matter as long as you manage to. If you don't mind, would you mind singing a little bit, if it's okay?
Okay.
Because of time, maybe not the whole song, but just a little bit, 30 seconds or something.
Okay. Okay, so so the important parts.
Yes.
Mwari munondi disisa hapana kwandinoyenda musina kundibata ndimi muneni. So yeah, that's
beautiful.
Thank
I like
you.
it. You've got a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
Wow. So what I think I'm actually going to do is, you've got a YouTube channel, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what I'll do is on this video, I'll put your YouTube link on my channel. And then also at the end of this video, I'll also maybe share you'll give me your social media handles.
Sure.
And then we can also maybe just show your album cover. Was
Yeah.
it single cover? I don't know what.
Single cover.
Single
for
cover.
now.
Yes. And then if you want to get hold of her, you can also just connect with her on her social media handles. And please also make sure you click the link on my channel, which comes with this video. Yeah. So do you have anything else you'd like to share with us on your journey? Talked about health issues, singing. Is there anything you'd like to share, and also more of like a take-home message? There are a lot of people maybe I think who can relate to what you're saying. What would be your parting words, as it were? Sorry, maybe that you could let people know, or encourage them with, or challenge them with.
Right. So I think I have quite a few,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
For the singers, if you're going to be singing on stage,
Mm-hmm.
do not worry about the mistakes that you're going to make on the stage, especially for worshipers. Because I believe that if the person who's going to notice the mistake, who's off of the stage, did not come for worship, God knows you in and out. So obviously he's going to know what you're going to say. And those worshiping with you will understand you, because they also know that God is the one who's listening, not the people around. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be encouraging each other to worship. Even if you lose the words, that's okay. That's okay. That's still okay. And for the mental health, and now I'm not just speaking for epilepsy, I'm speaking for any general mental health situation. Don't stop believing in yourself, because there's so much more that you can do. Even if it happens often, even if you have many seizures often, it doesn't stop you from writing. It doesn't stop you from taking a walk. It doesn't stop you from cooking. Of course, be cautious, but you don't need to limit yourself from a lot of action. Otherwise, it might not feel the same. You know, you're still a normal person. You're still a person like everyone else. You're still created in the image of God, and God still loves you. And if he has a purpose for you, he will lead you through it. So, yeah, that's...
Wow. Well, I told you that she has a lot to offer the world, you see. I'm sure we're going to be seeing you maybe in years to come and find out how you're doing and what are the songs you've written. Kuzi, thank you. We've come to the end of our show. Thank you so much. You know, I admire the courage that you had. I think this was courageous for you to come and share this. And you don't know what it's going to do, how far this is going to reach. It's really amazing that also a young person is able to come and talk about the Lord, you know, without any shame or anything, and really just encourage even older people, you know, about health issues, yes, but also talking about God and what he's done. I love to see that even from a young age. You know, a lot of times we see maybe the older generation, but it's nice that the younger generation also can see the hand of God in their lives.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, and God bless you. And I wish you all the best, you know, in your adventures and in your singing.
Thank you.
Yeah, all the best. Yeah, and yeah, please make sure you click that link on my channel and listen to her songs. Thank you very much for sitting through this whole testimony and for listening. I hope you were uplifted and motivated. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.